My name's Brett, and I've illustrated a lot of books and written a few. But today I'd like to just talk about creativity a little bit. And I know from a long time ago when I had nothing but a wish to be an artist, I found creativity rather intimidating, you know. Always thinking I didn't have ideas or I didn't know where to start. And then I learned a lesson in school. Let me just tell you a little story. I was studying illustration at Brigham Young University in Utah. All right, good. And I had just jumped ship from 2 years into an engineering degree, so I was very not feeling my feet at the time and didn't know quite what I was doing. But I had this strange burning desire to draw pictures, and that's all I could think about. But I didn't know how to do it. We had this class called History of Illustration. We were studying all the greats of American illustration, and one day our teacher put up a big slide of an artist named Howard Pyle. Some of you may be familiar with Howard Pyle, and I just thought it was the most amazing picture I'd ever seen, and I still think it is. But oh, what am I doing? I'm sorry. Oh, forgive me. Okay. Well, no, I do that habitually to my own drawings. I just don't even, anyway, but anyway. And I looked at that picture and, like, you know, I imagine some of you may look at what we've done in here and may wish you could do something, but wonder how you're going to do it. How you know, and I've been there. I felt it. When I looked at this Howard Pyle, I thought, how can I ever get there? How can I even get close? Because at the time I wasn't close. And then our teacher showed us the next slide, and I'm just going to kind of draw my idea of what it was, because it's you know, the picture was a knight on a horse, and the next slide was the drawing that Howard Pyle started the picture with, and it looked something like this. It looked something like that, okay? And I'm not kidding. And when I saw that, it was a great awakening in my mind, and I thought, that I can do. I'm there. So I realized there was just a process you had to go. You started for something very clumsy and scribbly and almost unintelligible. Like if I'd seen this one first and not known where, I couldn't have made sense of it at all. There was nothing in there recognizable, and often my own sketches at this stage, a week later, I can't tell you what they are. You know, I forget. And so I tell you that story just to help you understand that there is a process, and if you have aspirations to make pictures, even if the best you can do right now is this, just keep doing it. Keep making your pictures and work on it. And so today what I'd like to do is just a little activity on one part of the process that's very important to me. This one I'm going to just, without hesitation. And that is character design, drawing characters. And so I brought paper and I've got some pencils. So who would like to draw? John, Lawrence, right?
Yes.
Anybody else want to take a stab? Have some fun? All right. It's really easy. Anybody can do what we're going to do, okay? Oops, I'm sorry. Could you guys pass that to some people back there? Anybody over here want to give it a try? We're just going to design a character today.
Negative count.
Huh?
Negative count.
Okay, well that's all we need, Anybody else? Yes, okay, take one of those. Can you take some to the back and see if anybody else wants some back there? Thank you. You want to give it a try? Okay, cool. Let me see. Now this is geared toward, like I say, I'm hoping we're all young at heart here and willing to just learn a little bit. So, all right, so I wrote a book recently called Grumpy Goat, and it's about, I don't know if we have time to read it, but it's a goat that goes from being grumpy to being not so grumpy. But let me show them to you. Okay, and the first thing I do when I write a story or when I illustrate a story is I think of the characters first. So if I'm writing it, I conceive the character long before I know the plot. I just thought of for some reason, a grumpy goat just appealed to me. And so then I built a story around that. If I'm working on a story that's not my own, oops, sorry, thank you. Like Christmas Carol, I start with the character. So in this one, I worked on Ebenezer Scrooge first, and that's what I came up with. You know, but somebody just today in there just was asking me a question of how I come up with the characters, and you know, here's our happy Scrooge. So, and it's something I like to do. The only thing I really draw in my sketchbook, about 80% of my sketchbook is just faces. I love to draw faces. And to me, as far as my discipline and my practice goes, I figure if I can draw a good face, I can draw just about anything. So I work on faces a lot. So, and if you can master the human face, you can do goat faces too, and bear faces, and give them a lot of, hopefully, a lot of emotion and feeling. And that's what I aim to do. So today I'd like to simplify, because faces can be a little bit intimidating at times. So we're going to start with a goat. And we're going to design a goat. And I'm just going to play a little game here. Does everybody have a pencil that wanted to draw? Does anybody need one? I've got a few. Okay. Pass those back. Anybody else? If those don't work, tell me. Okay, so we're going to play a little game here. And I like to tell kids that I work with that drawing is even easier than learning how to write. And that's because when you, John Lawrence, when you learn, you know how to read, right?
Yeah.
Yep, of course you do. When you first started learning how to read, you had to learn a few things first. 26 of them. What were they? Letters, right? You had to learn the alphabet, and then we all know by combining those 26 things we can write any word we can conceive of. And drawing has the same kind of thing. There's just simple shapes. If you learn to master them and learn how to manipulate them, you can draw just about anything. But I think it's simpler than 26. I think you can get away with 3. And we know them all. They're just a circle and a square and a triangle. Let me quickly just tell you what I think of when a circle. If you take a circle and you stretch it, you get a different shape called an oval, right? Same shape in my mind. I don't distinguish as far as drawing. Same with the rectangle. We can stretch it. Square and rectangle, essentially the same shape. We're not this isn't math class, so I don't really worry about precise definitions. And a triangle, you can stretch that out too. And then, so we all know those shapes, but then in drawing, we have to get comfortable with leaving part of them done, being comfortable with that being a circle and that being a square, and just being able to visually see the other lines are there. Okay, so let me show you what we're going to design a goat based on this little game of just when I design a character, I just start drawing it. I just start drawing faces. And I start with a basic head shape, and then I put a nose on it, and then I put some eyes on it. I see what I've got. And then I just quickly draw another one, and I change the nose, I change the eyes, I change the ears, I change the overall head shape, see what I've got. Maybe I like one, maybe I don't. Maybe I don't like either. So I keep moving on. I just keep changing things. I just change and move things around. And so that's kind of what we're going to do, a simplified version of that, and we'll see what we get. So, but I like to do it as a game to add a random factor to it. So on 3 pieces of paper, I'm going to draw a square and a circle and a triangle, and we're just going to draw our goat in a kind of a random way and see where we get, see how different from my goat it ends up being. So we start with the shape of the head, because that's kind of the basic, you know, when we recognize our friend, we recognize their silhouette before we do their features. So, you know, in designing a character, the overall shape of their head is the first place to start. So, John Lawrence, come be my first volunteer. You're going to pick the most important shape. So, without oh, you can see through. Okay, close your eyes and pick one of those. I want this to be totally random. Pick one of those. Okay.
I think it's a triangle.
It is a triangle. Okay, so that's where we're going to start. So I'm just going to start with the triangle for the shape of our goat's head. I'm going to think about a goat. Now, when you think about the quality of a goat, they have kind of a long snout. So I'm going to lengthen my triangle a bit, okay? So that's where we're going to start with our goat, okay? Close your eye, pick another one. Now we're going to, next important feature I like to do is nose.
Is it a triangle again?
It's a triangle again, okay, well that's what we're going to go with. Okay, so I'd encourage you just to try. If you want to draw, just draw along with me. These are really simple shapes. Anybody can do it. So, goat's nose, we're just going to put it right here. And we have to be a little creative with where we put it. And I'm going to fill this in black to make it be what it ends up, to make it look like what it's supposed to be. See, now we're starting. You can start to see a character in there, hopefully. Okay, after the nose I do eyes. I think that's the next most important feature in describing what someone looks like, so don't pick the triangle. Okay.
I think it's a square.
Square, okay. So, now, this is kind of cartoon world, so we can do square eyes, okay? No big deal. All right. And I'm just going to put a little square on the other side. That's the other eye that you can't see. That's the bump for the little eye.
Like in
all right?
Minecraft, everything is square.
Yes, like in Minecraft, everything is square. That's right. This is going to be a Minecraft goat. All right, cool. So next, it depends on what I'm doing. Let's do the ears for our goat here. That's a good feature to do. Okay, so close your eyes. All right, there you go. Pick one of those. What do we got?
Circle.
Circles. Okay, now goat's ears are long and floppy, so we're gonna
Make an oval?
We're gonna do an oval. And here I'm gonna even stretch it a little bit. We can draw ovals and we can bend them a little bit so we can get shapes like that. All right. In my mind, that's still an oval. All right, so I'm just going to draw them like that for our goat. Okay, now we need another important feature for a goat. Each creature has its own kind of things we need to draw. The horns, good. So let's see what shape we can get for the horns. Let's see what we get. Okay, pick one of those. All right, yep. Oh, there we go. Tell me what we got.
It is a circle.
Circle, okay. So here's what here's where you have to be a little creative. All right, so for the circle, remember I told you we could just use parts of shape. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm just going to use that half circle, and then I'm going to add another one and do a curved horn. Just thinking about, you know, we don't have to be technical about what these shapes are.
I was thinking of just little stubs.
We could do that too. Could do that too. There's lots of different ways to do it.
Yeah.
All right, so one more important thing.
The chin.
What's growing on my chin?
Oh, here.
Beard. Yes, okay, so let's pick that beard. We need a goat, okay.
Circle.
What do we got? Circle, okay, so for this one's tricky. So, but I'm just going to use a circle as the idea of it as curves. So I'm going to use a lot of curves. It's basically putting semicircles together, okay? Making a curved beard. Okay, now one last thing we need to do. We want our character to have a real person behind there, so the way we do that in drawing is we work on their facial expressions. We master, you know, the subtlety of getting an expression right, because a real character has feelings and emotions, right? So we want an expression, and we use the main device for an expression is the eyebrows. They tell us most about, I mean, you think about that when we look at when we read someone's face, we're looking at their eyebrows, even if we don't know we are. So let's do those. And believe it or not, we can think about them in terms of these simple shapes too. Okay. Pick one of those. Here, let's pick a different one. There we go. We've had a few too many of those. I like variety. So, okay, we got a square. All right, good. And since this is our grumpy goat, I'm just going to use a big, thick rectangle right there. Add a little life to this guy. Now, all right, thanks, John Lawrence. All right, so there's our goat. And you can see it's quite different from the one I did. And, you know, I hope you can see what I'm trying to show you here is, you know, drawing's a skill and it takes a lot of time to master, but there's still, with minimal skills, there's a lot of storytelling you can do if you so aspire. And you can even push this a little further, like, you know, well, let me show you what we could do if we took this basic shape and took it a little further and just refine some of the shapes. So I'm going to blunt that nose a little bit just to make it a little more realistic, but you see I've still maintained that overall shape, right? Okay. And the nose, we can pretty much stick to what we've got. That worked pretty well. I'll just refine it a little bit. And again, I'm working really quickly here, so you'll have to forgive the general quality of the drawing. But then look on the eyes. We can still keep them square-ish. But what happens if we round it off just a little bit? It looks a little more organic and natural, right? But we've just squared it off just a little bit. Still has that character, right? It's going to, the basic sense of that. You know, and with the eyebrow, if we just added a little bit of a triangular shape on the end there, that adds a little subtlety to it. All right, can you see what I'm doing? And then with that bump on for the other eye, you know, what if we just round that off again too, make that look a little more natural? You know, and then those ears, we'll add a little bit of just some detail, add some hair on it or something. Loosen it up a little bit. And then overall I want to add, but can you see what I'm doing? I'm still maintaining the basic sense of that character, but I'm just adding a little detail and manipulating a little bit more. Add some details. And again, not much. See, you can see the drawing I'm using isn't that technical, but I'm just trying to get a character that looks like they're somewhat alive under there. And you know, with the beard, I can make that a little more organic, but still maintain that overall curved shape, but just loosen it up a little bit. And you know, and then I can just add a few details, some hair here and there. And so the thing I'd hope that you get from this is just one, that mainly that with not much drawing skill, there's a lot of storytelling to be told. So if you've got stories in your head, just work on simple ways to bring your characters alive. You know, I think of some of the greatest cartoonists, how much life they bring into a character with just dots and lines, no detail at all, you know, and it's just really learning how to manipulate those and play with those until you get a character that starts to come alive. And then, you know, and also understand, if you can do that drawing, you're not far from getting a drawing like that by just adding a little subtlety and a little refinement, and you know, and then you're not too many steps away from something a little more detailed like that. And so, you know, if you have aspirations to create, whether professional or not, maybe it's just something you want to do for yourself or for your kids or whoever, I'd encourage you to just give it a try and just play around. It's a great way to spend time. So thank you.